But there's something to be said though, as a CFO, and I guess it's in your product too, that you're looking at non-financial metrics. You're looking at, I don't know if you'd call them activity-based metrics, but they're things that are more, you can quantify them, but they're more qualitative about like the persona of somebody.
No, you nailed it. In fact, one of the areas within sales operations and working with the sales leaders that we've now codified as a company, it's been one of our best predictors of how successful a sales rep is going to be in their ramping process. Is we've kind of internally coined them their hustle metrics, but it's basically what they do every day. And you know, in my old world of managing sales, I was of course a hawk on what did my pipeline look like? What was early stage versus late stage? What was the progression? What were my win rates? All important things. But what I glanced over that we've now since kind of brought into frame is this concept of like, what do I do every day? How many emails do I send? How many phone calls do I make? How many meetings do I set up? What does my activity in our sales database look like? And what we found, and now what we've also cataloged as a company, we think about our sales teams in like classes of, and we look at them in 3-month increments within each 12-month class. So class of 24, 23, 22, 21, we have all this data now. And what we found is that we can go in and look at sellers XYZ's activity-based metrics at day 126 and compare to what day 126 like at our best seller and what like bad frankly looks like. And it's your habits every single day that are actually the number one predictor of like your success as a salesperson. What I learned the hard way, unfortunately, is to drive great sales productivity isn't to focus on the people that are good and making them great. It's actually not losing winnable deals. It's getting rid of the sales reps that just weren't meant for your team or meant for your sell your product. And it's these activity-based metrics that allow us to get to that answer within 8 to 12 weeks rather than 8 to 12 months.
It's so funny you said that because we were talking to Ryan Walsh, who has a product called RepView, and it looks at like quota attainment across different orgs that are out there. And he was saying the most impactful thing you can do, because you're talking about incentives and using spiffs and stuff, the biggest needle move is actually to move the reps in the middle of the pack. It's like you're the ones who are going to kick ass are going to kick ass no matter what. Like they're going to overachieve. The ones who aren't that good, they're probably not long for this world. And you probably have a pretty good idea of who they are based on some, like you said, like, are they even making phone calls? But it's the ones in the middle. If you can toggle that switch just like 5% more, it's like a non-linear impact.
Yeah, and we've gone from hiring much more experienced people as our way of attacking that problem. If you know, 3-4 years ago, maybe our average tenure sales rep, so their selling experience, 3 to 5 years professional selling experience. There were outliers, obviously, but if you kind of look at the thick band of like where most people were in their career journey, it was pretty early. Whereas today, we like purposely index more heavily on really experienced sellers. It means we're going to pay them more probably, but they know how to ramp themselves faster. They obviously come with a terrific network and book of business. So it's also kind of, and then, you know, the other secret sauce that we really focus on, and this makes the hiring, you know, funnel smaller because it's there's not as many of them, but we hire with an industry vertical expertise. And I've always found that if you go on sales calls and if you're with a sales rep that's kind of just a generalist, and there's nothing against this person, but they can't go into the Gap or they can't go into United Airlines or they can't go into Citibank and talk their business model, sound exactly like someone that sat in that business for their life. Like you miss the nuances of what's important to the customer. You're not listening because you don't have an ear for it. But on the other side of the table, they know you're not credible, right? But if you can go in with like, you're deep on healthcare and you're deep on telecom and you're deep on insurance, which is how we hire, which is why we don't throw bodies at growth. We're very focused on high quality people that have these expertises. I've found that to also be a kind of a really powerful way to accelerate that sales productivity.
That's amazing. So finding reps who have had more time on the phone, for lack of a better term, it really does pay dividends, even though you probably have to comp them a bit more.
I don't mind it. I mean, make your salespeople rich. That was like that's like still say it all the time. Make your salespeople rich.
Yeah, I love that. Salespeople probably listening too. My brother is at AWS doing sales. He's probably nodding his head like, yeah, they should.
I have a brother at Workday. I think he'd say the same thing. Yeah.
Run the Numbers is a mostly LLC production. Yelling an intro by Fat Joe. Artwork by some AI thingamajig. Podcast and video editing is done by Cleancast at cleancast.io. Nothing said on this podcast is intended to be business or investment advice. It's the sole opinion of me, a guy who feeds his dog too much ice cream and has a history of net operating losses, LOL. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And also check out mostlymetrics.com. That's my newsletter where I explore business models and financial metrics. Thanks for riding with me. Share this with your friends. Peace.